If you think the FBI only showed up when something massive happened, think again. From the late 1950s through the 1980s, and honestly, way beyond that, Los Angeles wasn't just casually monitored, it was blanketed with federal surveillance. But not because there was some imminent foreign threat or a wave of mafia activity. The FBI was watching for something way less tangible and way more revealing about the times. They were tracking people who dared to challenge power, civil rights activists, anti-war protesters, Black and Latino organizers, students, artists, anyone really who looked like they might rock the boat. LA wasn't just a target, it became one of the epicenters of federal suspicion. And the reason why goes straight to the heart of what the FBI became under J. Edgar Hoover. Less a crime-fighting agency, more a paranoia-fueled machine to crush dissent. The story really starts in 1956, when Hoover launched a secret operation called COINTELPRO, short for Counterintelligence Program. On the surface, it sounded like something meant to protect America from threats, but that was just branding. What COINTELPRO actually did was unleash the FBI on anyone Hoover didn't like. And who didn't he like? Pretty much anyone asking for justice, equality, or an end to war. He called them radicals, but they were teachers, pastors, organizers, writers, students. The mission wasn't to catch criminals, it was to expose, disrupt, misdirect, discredit, or otherwise neutralize political movements. That language is straight from the FBI's own memos. And in LA, that meant putting Black Panthers under surveillance, infiltrating Latino rights groups, wiretapping student meetings, and tailing anyone who got too loud about racism or police brutality. It wasn't law enforcement, it was suppression, dressed up in a federal badge. Things escalated after 1965, when the Watts Rebellion exploded and exposed deep racial inequality in the city. Hoover saw it not as a warning sign of injustice, but as a justification for more surveillance. So by 1967, the FBI created something called the Ghetto Informant Program. Yeah, that was the actual name. It placed thousands of paid informants in Black communities across the country, and LA was one of the most heavily targeted cities. These weren't just a few snitches here and there. Barbers, bartenders, teachers, janitors, regular folks were recruited to report on their neighbors. And most people had no idea. Every meeting, every youth program, every protest planning session could have someone secretly feeding the FBI information. That program wasn't about public safety. It was about making sure no one got too organized. If you had a voice, the FBI wanted it silenced before it got loud. Nowhere was that clearer than in the way they treated the Los Angeles chapter of the Black Panther Party. The Panthers were feeding kids breakfast and setting up free health clinics, but the FBI treated them like terrorists. Agents sent fake letters to stir up fights between leaders. They tried to break alliances between the Panthers and other local groups, like the Brown Berets and Students for a Democratic Society. They sent undercover informants to stir chaos from within. In one now declassified memo, an FBI agent bragged about turning community organizers against each other by spreading lies and paranoia. It worked. Internal divisions grew, people were arrested, homes were raided, and trust inside movements collapsed. Hoover called it a win for national security. What it really was the government breaking its own people. Then, in 1971, something incredible happened. A group of regular citizens broke into an FBI field office in Pennsylvania and leaked hundreds of classified documents to the press. That's how the world learned about COINTELPRO. It wasn't just some wild conspiracy theory. It was real. The papers revealed decades of illegal surveillance, dirty tricks, harassment, and manipulation. The public was horrified. A Senate committee led by Senator Frank Church held hearings, and what they found was shocking. Domestic surveillance of ordinary Americans on a scale no one had imagined. The FBI had even tapped Martin Luther King Jr.'s phones and sent him anonymous letters urging him to kill himself. This wasn't about law and order. It was about fear, Hoover's fear of losing control. And in LA, that fear had led to a full-on campaign against anyone trying to build a better world. After COINTELPRO was exposed, Congress passed new laws like the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act in 1978 to put limits on how the government could spy on people. But the thing is, those limits didn't last. The machinery Hoover built kept evolving. Surveillance got sneakier, and as technology advanced, so did the methods. In the 2000s and 2010s, we saw the rise of programs like PRISM and X-Keyscore, collecting emails, texts, location data, you name it, without needing a warrant. And once again, LA was in the crosshairs. After the Ferguson and Baltimore protests, the FBI began labeling activists as black identity extremists, using that label to justify renewed surveillance. They even deployed aerial surveillance aircraft over protests. It was COINTELPRO with a facelift, new language, same fear-driven playbook. So why LA? Why did they keep watching this one city for so long? Because Los Angeles has always been a pressure cooker. It's a place where injustice and opportunity crash into each other every single day. A city of immigrants, dreamers, rebels, and fighters. From the Chicano moratorium to the East LA walkouts, from the Watts uprising to the Rodney King protests, LA is where change sparks. And Hoover's FBI feared that spark. They feared what would happen if people here got too organized, too unified, too powerful. So they watched. Not because LA was dangerous, but because LA was transformative. And that scared the hell out of them. So when people ask, why did the FBI keep tabs on LA for 3 decades? The real answer isn't found in crime stats or national security memos. It's in the fear of power shifting. It's in a government that decided it would rather police progress than let it unfold. They weren't protecting us. They were protecting themselves from the people. And that's not something they teach you in school.